after Stormont say walls are coming down, there's more going up?
Well, quite a lot of what Stormont says disappears into the ether, to be quite honest with you. The truth is that pronouncements in Stormont about these walls and the absence with the agreement, support and understanding of the people who live in the shadow of these walls and who look to these walls for their protection is just hot air. The current proposal, no matter how regrettable, is a practical solution to a practical problem. The walls that really have to come down are the walls in the hearts and minds of people.
Well, this wall is in the grounds of St Matthew's. I understand. I mean, it comes from both sides.
I think it's a misnomer to say it's in the grounds of St Matthew's. It's in a part of St Matthew's grounds which represent the barrier between the two communities. In other words, the housing. So it's a sort of a misnomer. I'm standing talking to you and look across to Pitt Place. Pitt Place frequently has difficulties. You can see the screens in the windows that prevent the windows from being open, and the first thing children see in the morning through their window is the screen immediately outside it. That's regrettable, it's disgusting, and it's just wrong. And it does sear images into their minds that young minds shouldn't encounter. You've
said, and Niall, the councillor here, has also said that you need to start taking the barriers down among the hearts and minds of people. And work is going ahead. I know we don't advertise it, and I know you don't want it advertised, but work does go on ahead.
I fully understand that, and I can only hope that those small shoots are allowed to grow and develop, because the truth is, the people that live on this side of this wall we're standing and on the other side are identical in so many ways. They support the same football teams in England, different ones in Scotland. But the truth is, in terms of the area in which they live, the educational opportunities or lack of them that are available to their children, the employment prospects, the outlook that they have on a whole raft of issues are almost identical. And yet, for some quirk of history, there is a necessity to retain the walls that are here, and indeed in this case regrettably add to them. I know, as round as a hoop, to quote a Belfast expression, that this will now lead for calls for a wall across the bottom of Bryson Street, because the people on the other side of the road see their homes as being attacked from this location where we're standing. So it's a very difficult situation. It will not be changed or altered by high-minded pronouncements made by people who, as Niall have said, don't live here.
The idea that this wall is retractable to reflect the mood is also sad, but you're going to tell me it is just a sad fact of reality.
It's a sad fact of reality, and whilst there has been an increase or an upshot in regrettable incidents along interfaces for a very long time, for many people who live particularly in Copeland Place, Thistle Court and Duke Street, it's an almost nightly occurrence, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 stone or 50 stones. It's a constant pressure cooker of fear and concern that I personally think psychologically changes people. If you're living 365 days a year, not knowing if something is going to come over a fence, damage your property or injure you, or more importantly perhaps your children, that does have a very long-term effect on people's outlook on life and on their neighbours.
And as someone who has worked on the ground in years as a councillor in Castlereagh and office in Copeland Place with a voice in Stormont, is there really a feeling then that what goes on in Stormont is really divorced from what is actually happening anywhere else?
That would be the view of a great many people who live in the areas that are being discussed. That would be their view, and it's a view that I can understand. They don't necessarily see what goes on behind the scenes, but what goes on behind the scenes in some cases, in my view, leads to statements being made by people who should know better that actually make the situation worse rather than help improve it.
And what do you want to see happen really long term?
Long term, I want to see a child born on that side of this fence and a child born on this side of this fence have precisely the same opportunities in life, the same opportunities to become friends, the same opportunities in education, the same opportunities in employment. And I suppose in truth I would like to see them the inheritors of our future rather than the prisoners of our past.